Alrighty, welcome back. Brand new or returning. Got a lot of comments recently that we've got new subscribers, so welcome to my Nightmare Zone series. I'm also doing State of Decay 1, the Year 1 Survival Edition, and both of them are actually going pretty good. Just got done, well, it didn't just get done. I took about an hour break to in between these, but just recorded State of Decay Episode 8 for Year 1 Survival Edition. Now it's time to do Nightmare Zone Episode 96. So, in between episodes, I did play the game off screen, and what we basically did was sit around the base and wait for daytime. I straightened up my inventory, and I'm going to call in some supplies in order to, spend some influence, get some of our supplies back. So let's go ahead and do that. Call for traders. Food. See, some of these aren't even cooled down yet, so I guess we'll call the ammo guy first. Ammo guy. But what we're going to be doing this episode is trying out the remaining weapons. Ladislaw is already equipped.
You still want to trade for ammo? I have some extra right here.
And, okay, we got to put this gun away, but yeah, he's got his test weapon prepared, and it's just the beginning of day, so we got plenty of time to deal with it. And so we're going to be using several of the weapons, but we're going to start out with the Domesday carbine. This comes with a professional brake, which I am not going to use, so I'm going to detach it, which reduces its power a bit. But power doesn't really matter in the game too much because most of the zombies die in one headshot anyway. So instead what we want to do is get a suppressor on there so that it makes less noise. Putting the highest quality suppressor on so we can minimize the damage the suppressor does to the weapons. Okay, the trader is here, which is nice. She's chosen to come right over to my storage as well.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and grab these and just quickly restock our base.
It's another delivery. Are you up for some trading?
Sure.
For the melee weapon, he's going to be using a towage club, another one of the grab bag weapons. Or not the grab bag, the go bag. Yeah, it's another one of the go bag weapons. And we were using it in the previous episode, but we're just going to use it for the entire test, just so that we can see that those go bag weapons in action. Gonna pick up these 50 caliber rounds and those 40 millimeter grenades, just because they're pretty expensive, pretty valuable. I am going to bring a pyro launcher with me as a safety measure in the event I get jumped by a whole bunch of ferals, which it's Nightmare Zone, that can definitely happen, and it's definitely a huge pain when it does. Bring an extra roll of pyro launcher ammo, and let's also bring some distractions. Okay, so we're ready. So this weapon, come on, open the door, has a scope, which is nice. A little bit of sway on it, like I'm not touching the analog right now, that's just kind of the natural sway. So, probably not going to be super great at longer ranges, and it does not have a fire selector, so you are stuck on semi-automatic, but for the most part, that isn't too big of a deal. Let's check our vehicle, how's it looking? Up, we need a fuel majiggin thing. Okay, we are good. So what we're going to do is just go out and do some errands. Let's go clean up some of these infestations. Get this one first. Give this weapon a try. Now, I'll say that I don't use 45 caliber weapons too frequently just because their main thing is that they do more damage. But for the most part, that just doesn't really matter too much because one headshot is going to kill these zombies one way or the other. He did get the scream off, which means the other zombies are going to react to that, so let's... Oh. Missed them. One thing that's nice about this gun is it has a huge ammo capacity. It's got 50 rounds.
Yeah, that'll keep you quiet.
Let's get in there and... oh, looks like that did finish him. just kind of sweep through here and just thin some of these guys out. Let's just get a feel for how this weapon performs. Let's see if I can use the stealth to my advantage without needing to crouch. Like, can I just shoot at them? As usual, one of the annoying things about sniping zombies is that
Use the help of a friendly listener right about now.
you shoot one of them and then the others have to react like, oh my god, like, did you hear that? So the reason they're coming after me is because they heard the shot. A silencer doesn't make a gun completely silent. And all these zombies are reacting because of that scream. If you're new to Nightmare Zone, like, one of the things you definitely want to learn is that a screamer does not need to scream to bring a ton of zombies. Even the regular zombies are more than capable of just bringing a huge quantity of them over. We need to use some stims. Ease of use on this weapon could be a little better. You do eat through your stamina pretty rapidly. But the knockdown is decent. One of the things you're always looking for on a blunt weapon is if it knocks enemies down in one hit. That's a pretty important element to it. Wish I got that execution every single time. Now we do have gunslinging on this weapon, so
Right here.
we are able to reload really quickly. I guess we can see what this survivor wants real quick.
Stay back from the stink.
I am so glad to see you.
Got separated from his community? Sure, we'll give him a hand. Oh, man, he got separated from his community is right next to him.
We're here. Fuck! You bastards! My friends aren't the only ones.
Oh, I didn't knock him down in one hit. Deal with the horde over here first. Well, that wasn't much of a horde. It was like, what, 3 zombies? So his community has clearly become an infestation. Not going to be able to score any headshots with him in the melee combat with them. They're just going to be moving around too much. So it looks like this doesn't quite knock him down every single time in one hit. It's very close to it though. Like that one there, I just used the, he has powerhouse, doesn't he? No, he's backpacking.
I can't believe this is happening.
Stay strong, amigo.
Let's see what this guy's
Let's make a deal.
Okay.
selling. Medicine and materials. I don't think we need either of those. Actually, we kind of need materials.
All right. Got it.
Take it easy.
Well, so much for him. Guess he is on his own. Which means he's probably screwed. Nightmare Zone can be a pretty scary place.
Yay!
Squish this guy. We got some zombies around our area, so let's thin some of these guys out. And it's so annoying wrestling with the sway on the weapon at kind of this medium range. You keep thinking that you're on target, but when the aim just sways off, you're like, nope, you were definitely not on target.
Teresa Weston may tell you that Red Talon's looking after you. But ask yourself this. Doesn't it seem like she's doing pretty damn well since the outbreak? Doesn't that work? No thanks. Even I don't have the time to help everyone who needs it.
Let's fight this juggernaut. Yeah, that's the first stagger. Second stagger. Avoided the damage, but we got a little bit of plague from the impact. So it took about, let's see how much ammo we've got left. Oh, we got a feral. Oh, he curved around a little bit. Got him. I think I had about 15 rounds left, so... Looked like we took about 35-ish shots to bring the Juggernaut down, which is pretty consistent with what you'd expect. So let's change weapons. Let's call in a food trader, and now we're going to switch to the next weapon. So overall, I mean, this weapon isn't bad. I would say there's probably more good going for it than bad. The main disadvantage is that it just uses a higher bullet caliber that doesn't really matter too much, but it's overall not a bad weapon. I would say it's pretty decent. And the bullets, while they are more expensive, I don't think it shouldn't interfere with you too much. So the Domesday carbine, I'm gonna say, isn't half bad. Next, we're going to use the... here we go. The MPX submachine gun. So this one uses kind of exotic ammo, so let's bring some of this stuff out. And I already equipped a silencer on it earlier. I don't believe it comes with that silencer. So this weapon is supposed to... It uses the exotic, the 357 rounds, the hollow point rounds. Normally, those are only available on the Magnum-style revolvers and Magnum-style pistols, but that's what makes this weapon unique. It has a fire selector for the 3 main modes of fire: single, burst, and auto. Let's see. Looks like it bursts in 3s. Grab a little more ammo. I'm probably going to be using it in single and semi-automatic. Use a med kit to heal that injury off myself. Normally I wouldn't waste medkits for this, but in this case, you know, I want to get some use out of Ladislaus, so we're going to use it as a way to quickly recover.
Want to trade?
All right.
Are you up for some trading?
Of course. I feel better knowing we have friends like these around.
Usually the food kind of inconsistent. I'm pretty sure they gave me a combination of 3 units of food and 4 units of food, which is kind of annoying. Let's call in the materials trader next. And while he's arriving, we will go out and kill some more infestations.
Got a guest here if you're interested in talking trade.
While I'm here, I'm also going to cure my infection level, because that's pretty cheap to do.
And I'm willing to barter.
So this weapon I'm a little skeptical of. And the reason for that is because it doesn't have a scope. And it uses the Magnum rounds, which are going to be a little bit more expensive than normal. And I feel like it's not really going to have too many advantages. That's kind of my initial thoughts on it. We'll see how it goes, though. The main thing I'm not liking already is that it doesn't have a scope. And that means I'm going to have to get a lot closer. And the problem with that in Nightmare Zone is, like I said, the silencer is not completely silent. And in Nightmare Zone, it's even louder than normal. So that means needing to close the distance to make reliable headshots is just going to increase the chances of me alerting zombies with the sound of the gun. I mean, you can see down the left-hand corner the amount of sound the weapon is making, and makes a decent amount of noise despite being silenced. And yes, it is silenced.
Yeah, that'll keep you quiet.
Got one of the screamers, but the other one gets the scream off. Accuracy is on point right now. This is less of the gun and more just... Right now my accuracy is just a bit more on point. As you can see, I do have to close the distance a lot more to make sure that crosshair is realistically on their head, including the spread on the crosshair. I mean, you can plink away at enemies at a further distance, but you do have the kind of random chance of just missing the shots because of the bloom. Like this guy, let's try to snipe this guy. That time we got him. Takes a long time to track the target and get a lock on him. But like I said, it can be done. There's nothing stopping you from it, but it's not what the weapon is good at. Okay, the zombie screamed, which means they're gonna hear that. And that means I'm gonna get attacked from multiple directions. Unless there just weren't a lot of zombies to hear it, which would mean we got a little fortunate there. Okay, let's get in here and clean up this infestation. I don't really want to use any of the alternate weapon fire modes because it just doesn't feel like it's going to be super valuable, since really you're just trying to get one headshot on them. Man, my accuracy is really good right now. Okay, so that one looked like it would have been a hit, but like I said, the spread on the crosshair interfering with the aim a bit. So we cleared this one. Let's take out this horde. Oh, it looks like it's a bloater pod. Just shoot them in the order of furthest to closest so that the smoke does the cloud doesn't interfere with my aim. Or we get 3 headshots, and that's the end of them. We'll just let them leak there. We got the credit for the influence from killing them. One more infestation. Smaller one. And it looks like it's this house right here. Maybe I just needed a little time to warm up. For the screamer, because once we start shooting him, the screamer's going to want to scream. Oh, I'm surprised that wasn't a headshot. That looked like one. Okay, Screamer is probably right behind that door, so I'm probably just going to charge in and bash the door down. Yep.
Yeah, that'll keep you quiet.
That is the end of that infestation. If you're wondering, how did I know that the Screamer is there? It's just a tendency. Like, if you clear like 1,000 infestations, and you'll just find it to be a tendency that the Screamer, if he doesn't come out with the rest of the zombies, he's probably by the door. It's just a pattern with them. It's not always true. Sometimes they're not. You just ram through the door for nothing, but I find more often than not that is the case. Let's head back to base. And so this weapon overall, I mean, we didn't get to use the automatic fire, but honestly, unless we get a Juggernaut, like, there's really no reason to use automatic fire. The recoil, and you're just trying to score headshots. That's all that really matters. Shooting people in the body, it's not what kills the zombies, so... I mean, if there's a Juggernaut nearby, sure, I'll shoot him. But I think that basically gets a feel for what this gun is about. You have these ferals, though.
Hey, we ain't been stopped yet, and we ain't gonna be.
So this is where having the scope would be really nice.
You may be fast, but you can't outrun.
That was that was also a super lucky shot. All of those were like, I mean, the third kill was not a super lucky shot, but those first two, those were like, due to the distance, like those shots could have gone either way. There's no way that was nowhere even close to a guaranteed headshot. I'm also not using the gunslinging active right now. I'm just using my organic aim at the moment. But these guys are bulletproof. Trying to hit the ones behind them. We're also almost out of ammo. They're really hard to hit when they're just acting. Like, what is this weird running formation they're doing? It's so strange.
Here.
Okay, we're out. So overall, I think, I don't know, I'm not going to recommend this weapon just because it doesn't feel any different than the other submachine guns that you use, and it's just using a more expensive ammo type. Like, if I was doing this exact same thing with the 9mm submachine gun, there wouldn't be any difference. Like, my accuracy would have been just the same. This weapon didn't have any special accuracy. It doesn't have, like, a scope. A scope would have made this weapon a lot more interesting, but... And like I said, it's just using a more expensive type of ammunition. Where are they? Yeah, these right here. You spend 4 ammo and you get 65, which I mean, like, it's not going to break the bank to build this ammo, but you could be getting an extra 10 bullets with the 22 caliber rounds, and like I said, they're not really much different in terms of firepower. I don't really detect any difference in them. So let's go ahead and re-repair this, and let's bring out the next weapon. So, MPX, I'm not too impressed with it. I mean, it's not a bad gun, but it's not a great gun. Its advantages are... Its advantages are not important. That's basically the issue with it. And they're not important because... There are other submachine guns that basically do the same thing, but cheaper. Let's go and bring out the choke here, because this is a shotgun. I'm going to try it with and without the choke. So here we have this gun. I probably should have showed it off, the other one. So, this is named after Fall Down Go Boom, who is a Decay content creator and has a distinctive orangish-colored finish, which kind of gives it kind of a cartoonish look. I guess if you want a more colorful weapon. So I'll say right now, the base spread of this weapon is pretty insane. Like, that's just huge. It's kind of sawn-off shotgun spread. Also extremely loud sounding. It's just a shotgun. It's probably also very loud to actually use. It looks like it's pump action, and you have to feed the shells one at a time. It is a shotgun, though, so it should be very good in close combat. Look at that, like, you really got to let the enemies get on top of you. That's annoying. The zombie just barely nicked me and gave me an injury. Welcome to Nightmare Zone. So one thing I don't like about these kind of sawn-off style shotguns is that, well, one, shotguns are just extremely dangerous to use because they're not silenced and they're very loud. So you want to have, like, look at the map. You just want to have instant zombie siege. You gotta go and shoot a shotgun. So this weapon is just not designed for Nightmare Zone. Unless you're just really messing around. I mean, look at the radar right now. We got, like, basically a bigger siege than a standard zombie siege right now, just from using this weapon. The fact that I have to constantly reload it is a bit inconvenient, but that's common to all sawn-off shotguns. Looks like they're eating our merchant, which they can do that later. They can eat them after I'm done buying and trading with them, but right now I kind of need them, so let's try and save them. Obviously, the advantage of a sawn-off shotgun is that you don't really need to aim. But look at that, that was like practically on... That was about as on target as it gets. Well, not, I don't know about that, but it was pretty on target, and yet we were still struggling to hit them. But you can see, you really have to let them get close with it. It's not going to give you the shots at a distance. Just not how sawn-off shotguns work. We got a bunch of screamers coming in.
Is anyone out there to hear this? I was trying to assist.
I mean, the screamers are really not even going to make a difference considering that we're basically shooting a screamer. This gun is a screamer. Like, the hope with this weapon is that the spread is so wide that you're hoping that it's going to be able to hit multiple zombies in one shot. Come on, you guys. It's just a screamer right in the middle of the base and you can't deal with it. Okay, let's go ahead and repair it, rearm, gonna heal, and we'll try it with the shotgun choke, which is going to cut down the spread immensely. Oops. Not that, I want this. You guys are nosy. So now we can see the spread has been reduced a decent bit. Let's go up here real quick so that I can check the spread. So let's aim at this object right here. This take it off, and this is what our spread looks like using the radar dish as a kind of a point of reference. And then we put it on, and yeah, I'd say, I don't know, maybe like 1/3 tighter. That'd be my kind of guesstimation. Just eyeballing it. Let's see how it feels. Oh, it looks like our guy got turned into a zombie. We'll just quickly blast him. So this is why I typically don't loot the traders. I mean, the Spec Ops is not a bad weapon. I mean, he got some okay things, but not like insanely stellar stuff. In the beginning of the game, that stuff would have been pretty decent. So perhaps looting the traders would be a good idea in the beginning of the game. But at the stage of the game I'm at, it's really not that big a deal. It's also repair. All right, let's go use the weapon with the choke for a bit.
Real graceful.
Like, who even needs to use zombie when you can just pull the trigger on one of these weapons? So, what the choke is going to let us do is shoot the zombies at a farther distance.
Time to reload.
But the downside to it is if we need to make kind of like a snapshot with a zombie like right next to us, it's not going to be as effective. Obviously, the manual reloading is also a real pain to deal with. This weapon is super loud. I mean, I guess that's kind of like the way they're trying to live up to the name, fall down, go boom.
And now I'm empty.
Okay, out of ammo, so I guess that's the end of the test for this weapon. Let our community deal with the rest of this stuff while we go dig out another weapon. Okay, that screamer has to go. Okay, dokes. Let's get back inside. Okay, we're out of shotgun shells, so I'll have to make some pretty soon. Take the choke off. And what's the next weapon on the list? So, I guess, final thoughts to Fall Down Go Boom shotgun. I don't like it. I mean, shotguns are really dangerous to use. Shotguns are not very good weapons. Maybe in standard zone it would be decent, but it doesn't feel any different than the other shotguns you would use, like this police gun that you get from one of the packs. All the shotguns seem equal to this or better. Like the Kodiak XL, this one's a way better shotgun. It's got 31 shells, and yeah, it does have the same accuracy issue, but look, it has a sight, so you can actually zoom in and tighten it so you can have the best of both worlds. You want the wider shot, you got it. You want to zoom in and get the tighter shot, you got it. Just a much better weapon than the fall down, go boom shotgun. So I think it's one of the worst weapons of the group so far, similar to like the M Dart. So far, out of all of the content creator weapons, the one that's actually really good is the Blaze, the Trailblazer. Where is the Trail? Here it is. This one here, Trailblaze X2K. This one is actually really good, but the M Dart is garbage, and Fall Down Go Boom also garbage. That's nothing on the content creators themselves. In fact, I don't even know the first thing about them. But the weapons, their namesake weapons, not impressive. They are not particularly good. Classic AK-47 next. Get a silencer out. Let's also go ahead and make some more of these first aid kits.
Just one left.
Once again, not very efficient on resources to just use the med kits like this, but Ladislaw is kind of like one of our designated guys for these kinds of jobs. So, standard AK-47 has 2 firing modes, semi-automatic and fully automatic. We're probably just going to be using semi-automatic. No other special features, though. I can't zoom in, and that kind of makes this weapon not super great. It's got definitely that kind of rustic feel to it. It's got that worn, lots of scrapes all over it. It's supposed to be kind of like your stereotypical AK-47. The fact that it doesn't have a sight, though, on it really makes it not too much better than, or really no different than the other kinds of assault rifles you find. Any assault rifle with a scope is probably going to just automatically be better than this weapon. Take out this horde. We're relying on a little bit of the randomization on the accuracy. Another problem with this weapon is that there are a lot of other AK models that are better. There's like sighted AKs, there's an AK with like a expanded magazine. There's just other AK variations that are just the same thing except better. The most remarkable of them is the Infinite Guard's Eternal Rage. Or is it the Eternal Guard's Infinite? It's Eternal Guard's Infinite Rage. I mean, they both sound good from both directions.
Time to reload.
Oh, I gotta reload. Oh, still caught me. Didn't run fast enough. And that one's remarkable for basically being an AK-47 with an absolutely gigantic magazine. We're talking like 150 rounds, I believe it is. But, you know, I'll say that's a rare AK-47. It's special. But, like I said, there are other AK-47s. Oh, it also has a sight as well. That's another advantage it has. So, but like I said, there are other AK variants that are basically just the same thing except better than this. One feral. Getting caught out here relatively with a little bit of a walk is never a good idea with ferals. Hoping to get their attention.
You may be fast, but you can't outrun me.
One of the things that ferals make a big mistake as far as is they go in a straight line towards you, and it just makes them really easy. If you don't freak out and you see them at a far enough distance, just Aim for the head and pop them.
Okay, people. Time to fight.
This is going to be a minor zombie siege, nothing to write home about. Of course, with all of our guns firing, you never know. You don't know what you're going to drag in. So here's why you don't use fully automatic mode. It's, I'll go ahead and use it on some of these zombies. If there are any zombies.
I don't know how much longer we can hold them off.
So the issue is that, as you can see, there's a little bit of recoil. That was even a, that was a 2-round. I fired that in 2 rounds on a burst. Not that it has burst fire, but I just used just tapped it barely.
Let's show the Zeds what we're made of.
But the issue is that you're just trying to get a headshot, honestly. Body shots, like, I'm just gonna... Oh, that guy got blasted. Let me drop this Zed real quick.
That it? That's it. No more Zeds.
So body shots, they just don't matter. You can shoot this zombie up like crazy, and it doesn't matter. And because it doesn't matter,
I should reload. That's my
all you're trying to do is get a headshot. That's all you're trying to do. And like, look how much ammo I'm putting into it, and it's still not dead. I'm trying to avoid her head right now. And that's why you don't want to use automatic fire, is because all you're doing is reducing your aim. And these zombies, they can't be killed with body shots unless you're using an extremely high-powered weapon like the 50 caliber rifles. They are the exception to the rule, but that's basically just means like automatic. It's really not too good unless you're dealing. Maybe it can be good against a feral, because sometimes you just need to try to score that headshot on them. And it can be good against juggernauts because it allows you to put your bullets in them faster. But for the most part,
The sheriff really stepped up and helped us out. So
not going to help
here's
you.
a little something as a
So what do I think about this weapon? Classic AK-47. It's very ordinary. It's just a rifle. There's really nothing else to say about it. Put him on guard duty. And we'll swap to my next character, who's also striking specialist. Basically, we need to use striking specialist so that we can continue using the towage club. Put this away, put these away. And our other striking specialist should be Eli. Yes. Still got some daylight, so let's continue trying out some of these weapons. Okay, so we just used the classic AK. We should be running out of weapons to try. Well, that was the last one. Oh, never mind. Okay, so classic AK, fall down, go boom shotgun, MPX, Doomsday, Trailblaze, M-Dart, and the Flat Dark Earth. Okay, so let's quickly go through all of the weapons. Starting with the Towage Club. Okay, so Towage Club. This weapon is... It's alright. It's not bad. Like, if you don't have a good quality blunt weapon already, like, especially if you're brand new to the game, like, if you don't have something like the L6 Mace, Freedom Ringer from DLC, Cleo Mace, insanely good. Cleo Mace, I think, is the best of the blunt weapons, simply because it's got this... Let's compare its knockdown to all the other weapons. Like, is there a weapon that can beat the Cleo Mace in terms of knockdown? Look at all these red lines. Red, red, red. Yeah, none of these have a superior knockdown, and I scrapped all my other really crappy ones. So, Cleo Mace, insanely... Really, its only weakness is its durability could be better. But the most important thing is that it knocks the enemies down in one hit. And only if you have striking. With maxed out striking, the Cleo Mace will knock enemies down in one hit. Not without maxed out striking, though. But that's what you're looking for in a good blunt weapon. When you're using striking, you are looking for blunt weapons that knock enemies down in one hit with maxed out striking. So this weapon, Towage Club, it's not bad. I would, in fact, I would say it's better than average. Like, if you don't have a decent blunt weapon, this weapon's not bad. Let's go through the list, though. We got Flat Dark Earth. Can't really get a good view of it. This is the pistol that this weapon is literally just a reskin. There is nothing special about it. It doesn't have any special features or anything. It's just got this kind of tan-colored, well, flat dark earth color scheme. But otherwise, it's literally just a 9mm pistol. It's no better than the other common 9mm pistols, and there's a lot of unique 9mm weapons that are way better than it. So this is basically just a collector's item, because it's not a good weapon. Then you've got the MDAR 986 revolver. Revolvers are not good weapons in general, especially on Nightmare Zone. You would never want to use a revolver. Their main advantage is that they're indestructible, like they don't take any durability loss, so you have the advantage that they don't use your parts. But let me tell you what, you pull this trigger even once, you're basically like a screamer going off, so you might save parts, but you're just going to bring a ton of enemies in. That's just going to bring, you're going to use a ton of ammunition, and you're going to use your melee weapon a ton, so you're just going to wind up spending more resources because of how loud it is. In the standard zone, this weapon's probably okay, but otherwise, like, this weapon, it's not even an average weapon. No, it's bad. This weapon I would never recommend using, because likewise, I would never recommend using the vast majority. I would not recommend using any revolver except for the Echo S1. Or whatever yeah, I think the Echo S1 is the revolver. That is the only revolver I would recommend. All the other ones are bad, and that one's no different. Then we've got the Trailblaze X2K. This weapon has a unique color scheme. It's got this kind of blue look to it. And it is a 9mm semi-automatic rifle. 9mm, I just said 9mm, and it zooms in. A little bit of sway on it, or a decent bit of sway, honestly. That's the main thing that holds it back. Otherwise, this weapon would be really good. And even with the sway, it's still a pretty good weapon. It's probably the best weapon out of the bunch. So I actually would recommend using the Trailblaze, especially if you're brand new to the game and you don't have a better equivalent. Then you got Domesday Carbine. I think that's the next one. Yeah, Domesday Carbine. Recognizable by its really, really, really long barrel. This weapon has massive 50-round capacity, semi-automatic. The only weakness to this weapon, honestly, I mean, it has a great scope, too. It's got there's a bit of sway to it, so it's got the same problem as Trailblaze, but overall, this weapon is actually pretty good. And I would say that I think the only thing that makes the Trailblaze better than this is that it uses a more efficient ammo type. But honestly, if you value the 50-round capacity more than the 30-round capacity, then I would say this weapon could potentially be better, although it is a less efficient ammo type using the 45 caliber rounds. But still, a pretty good weapon overall. Then you've got MPX submachine gun. This one is the one that fires the unusual, the 357 caliber hollow point rounds. This weapon, I don't think it's very good. I mean, in terms of literal performance, I think it's okay. But the problem is that it's no different than 9mm submachine guns. Its main thing that holds it back, there's two things that holds it back. One, it doesn't have a scope. If it had a scope, it would be a lot better. And two, it's using a more expensive bullet that you don't really gain any benefit from using the 357. Basically, the 357 hollow point rounds, they're not special. Like, they don't do anything cool. Like, they're a waste, basically. So this weapon, it gets the job done, but if you have any equivalent, like the MP5 SD, way, way better. This is a DLC weapon here, Evo 3. Way, way better. There's any of these 9mm equivalents they're just strictly better. Fall down, go boom. This is one of the worst weapons of the bunch, along with the M-Dart. Has a unique color scheme with the kind of orangish color, getting dark so you can't tell. Sawn-off shotgun, extremely wide shots, which means you don't have to aim as much, but oh my god, it's insanely noisy. The noise, you can see the quietness, almost the lowest quietness possible, and that makes this weapon it's just, you shoot it once on Nightmare Zone, you're basically ringing the dinner bell. It's just terrible weapon. Pump action, gotta feed the shells one at a time. It's just not a good shotgun. The standard everyday Model 870, the very common shotgun, even that's better than this. So it's just, it's actually just worse. It's worse than other shotguns. I would not recommend using it unless if you're a fan of Fall Down, Go Boom, that's a perfectly good reason to use it. But in terms of strategic value, that weapon is garbage. Classic AK-47. Okay, good, lights are coming on, so now we get a little bit of renewed light. We can actually go use it in here. Has the old rustic look of a worn down AK-47, like the old Vietnam kind of time period weapon. Otherwise, very ordinary, no special features at all. It's not one of these collector's type weapons like the G45 Flat Dark Earth. There's just nothing special about it. It's basically, it's the lowest quality of the heavier assault weapons. It doesn't have the expanded magazine, doesn't have a scope. It's like I said, it's just the same thing as other assault weapons, except it's the lowest quality. Now, the lowest quality assault weapon is still decent, but it's basically the worst of its kind. So once again, just a collector's weapon. If you're an AK-47 enthusiast, it might have some value there.
I never doubted that plan.
And I think that's the last of the weapons. Let's put this guy back on guard duty, and that's gonna be the end of this episode. Oh, there's one weapon we didn't test, actually. And that's because there's no stats on this weapon. Let's go ahead and equip it. That'd be the wrench blade. Unequip this. So here we got the wrench blade. Basically, it is a wrench that's been sharpened into a dagger. Or a knife, whatever the technical consideration weapon is. The reason we didn't test this is because all of these weapons here, the close combat weapons, they don't have stats. Like you can see, the stats aren't even shown. Because close combat weapons don't have stats. They're purely cosmetic. So you use whichever one you think looks the best, whichever one appeals to you the most, because there's no strategic difference between any of them. They all have the same stats. But as far as looks go, I don't know. It doesn't particularly interest me. I like the Echo series close combat weapons better. But those are my weapons overall, so once again, as a quick recap, the only weapons that I think are actually decent are the Trailblaze X2K. I think that one's actually pretty good. The Domesday carbine is actually not bad. Just take that break off because you're just going to ring it makes it louder to ring the dinner bell. You need to use silenced weapons. Quiet weapons are king in Nightmare Zone. And then Toe Edge Club. Toe Edge Club is honestly not bad. None of them are insane weapons, though. That's one thing I want to point out. There are better weapons than the Trailblaze. Like, it's just a good weapon. It's definitely not the best weapon, though. So, Doomsday Carbine. Honestly, the Doomsday Carbine had the potential for being one of the better weapons in the game if it just used 90 of the 9mm. If you use a cheaper bullet type, then honestly, that wouldn't be a half bad weapon because the capacity and the accuracy is there for that weapon, but it's 45 caliber, so that makes it a little bit worse due to the ammo economy. And then the Toe Edge Club, that weapon, if you're brand new to the game, that's actually not a half bad blunt weapon. However, I would say that there are definitely better options out there, especially the Cleo Mace, but that is a DLC weapon. You gotta own the DLC to get the Cleo Mace. So if you exclude some of the DLC weapons, the better ones would be like the L6 Mace, but it is a rare weapon. So honestly, Toe Edge Club, not bad. Definitely, probably one of the better weapons in the pack. But at any rate, we tested all of the weapons out. Let me know down in the comments section which weapons you are interested in. And did this demonstration change your mind about any of them? Or are you curious about some of them? Maybe you disagree. Maybe you think some of these weapons are better than the grade that I gave them, but let me know down in the comment section. At any rate, that's the end of the episode. Like this video if it was entertaining or informative. Subscribe for future State of K2 content. And, of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.